And we are going to stay in Gaza City and get more details on the humanitarian crisis with Hisham Mhanna. He's the spokesperson for the International Committee of the Red Cross. Hisham, we really appreciate your time and speaking to us here. Firstly, just talk us through what it's like where you are in northern Gaza. We heard about some of those conditions from our reporter, but as somebody who's working in the aid space and trying to help people, what's it like?
Hello, Yashni, and thank you for having me. I'm speaking to you from Deir al Balah, which witnessed evacuation orders yesterday, and people started to pack whatever they're left with belongings without a clear destination that would get them somewhere safe, equipped with the basic needs, including food, water, shelter, etc., because there's no such a thing in Gaza for a long time now, which have made people very much desperate, taking very difficult choices. They go to a distribution sites either in the south or in the middle area, knowingly that they can get harmed or may not come back alive. Since May 27th, our field hospital in Rafah has been receiving mass casualty influxes of patients, large numbers. Some of them have arrived already and announced dead upon arrival to the hospital. The remaining were injured with gunshots and blast explosive injuries. This has significantly exhausted the resources of our hospital, the medical supplies, and our team as well. This hospital, same like the very few remaining functional or partially functional hospitals in Gaza, its resources are being depleted and exhausted much faster than they are replenished. And that leads to another issue about the ongoing restrictions on the entry of humanitarian aid, life-saving for many cases. So since last night, we have been hearing nothing but loud explosions. Sometimes they shake the grounds and walls surrounding you, so you can have a sense of what civilians displaced out there on the streets and side corners without the proper shelters. Many of them, even if they're lucky, have thin sheets of plastic or some pieces of wood to start a fire if they find something to cook and feed their children.
Hisham, with the ground offensive that is now taking place in Deir al Balah, how is this going to affect people there who already, as you've just described, living through horrific conditions? But with that, also, how will it affect the operations of your organization? This could also be affected.
Well, evacuation orders and the evolving military operation pushes the civilians into more squeezed areas, lacking, the preparation or lacking the availability of what they need to survive. Essential services have been disrupted significantly. Finding drinking water suitable for human consumption is very difficult and challenging. And if you look at people walking in the streets, you would easily notice how fatigued they are, how frustrated they are, and how much human dignity they have lost while trying to feed their loved ones. So by the degenerating hostilities and by the recurrent evacuation orders, they are left with even less of that available space in such dire conditions. Operationally, the International Committee of the Red Cross is doing its best. Our team are doing their best to maintain the essential services that we are trying to help civilians with. So these evacuation orders pose further challenges. Transportation between our premises, including the Rafah Field Hospital, has become more challenging. Fuel is also a challenge for everyone in Gaza nowadays. So we will have to prioritize. Our community kitchen support activities, which provides thousands of meals, hot meals for thousands of families, which is basically the only meal that this family would receive, have been shrinking significantly because of the lack of the supplies. We had to shut down 4 out of 6 community kitchens only in southern Gaza, and the 2 remaining are just barely functional, managing day by day. We have been also supporting patients and the workers at the field hospital with meals every day. And this is not available anymore as it should be, as it used to be. And it delays also the recovery phase or the recovery process for the patients. So everyone in Gaza now is acutely impacted by the ongoing situation. And we are sounding the alarm. We are so much concerned and worried about what will happen definitely in the near future if there is no agreement that puts this suffering to an end, that stops the daily killing and injury of civilians, and puts this human agony to an end.
Absolutely. A ceasefire is what so many people so desperately need right now. And Hisham, if I can ask you just on a personal note, you are living and also working through this humanitarian crisis and through this war. What is it like for you to be able to try to carry out your work, but also see the suffering of your own people and be experiencing it yourself?
You know, day after day, this is becoming a very difficult question to answer, or a situation to think of. Like all of my colleagues, they are impacted by exactly what civilians in Gaza are impacted with. We have lost 6 colleagues since the start of this conflict. Many of our colleagues have lost some of their loved ones, their homes, their belongings, yet they are showing every morning to work, because we all know and believe that thousands of families rely on the service, the humanitarian work and action that the ICRC is doing, same like many other humanitarian organizations that believe in humanitarian principles. Humanitarian principles that shape the work of humanitarian action, such as impartiality, such as humanity, and ensuring and putting the dignity of the civilians, especially those most vulnerable, at first. So there's no choice but keep doing what we're doing. But humanitarian solution is not a solution. Only political efforts can make a change and can make the hope that people in Gaza are losing by the hour finally come true.
And hopefully we will see that political solution. Hisham Mhanna in Deir al Balah, really appreciate your time, and please, to you and your colleagues, do stay safe.
Thank you.